Countdown is here.
All right, I'm ready.
We're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session today. I am super excited to have Helen Gottstein with me this evening. We have an action-packed 20-minute session for you. Lots and lots to cover. And Helen, first of all, a big welcome to you. Just say hello to our audience.
Hey, everyone. Risa, I'm so thrilled to be here with you this afternoon. I've been following you for years. And I remember when I first met you, when you were hosting a lean-in event in Tel Aviv, and you were so graceful and so smart the way you introduced and thanked people on the stage. And it was just such a brilliant event. And I'm like, lean in with social grace. This is a woman to follow. And I've been following you ever since. So I am really delighted to be here with you this afternoon. No joke.
Thank you, Helen. Same here. You know, I look at you all the time. I'm one of those silent creepers in Ema Kadima group who's always looking at people's posts and what they're saying to each other. And I always see the positivity you bring to everyone. And I say to myself, oh my gosh, could this woman be like my life coach? Can I just like take her home with me? And she whispers all these positive gems in my ears all the time. So I'm really honored to have you and to really have crossed paths with you so we can make this event happening today.
Okay.
Great. So what we have in store for you today is we're going to talk a little bit about silencing your inner critic, because we know it's important to learn how to be better speakers. We as women are always scared about public speaking, and we don't realize how often we do it, right, Helen?
Right. It's one of the key ways that we actually move our careers forward. If we're on a team, we want to make our presence felt. We want our visibility to be clear. If we're leading a team, we have to have leadership presence. You want to be, make a presentation, everything from TEDx to an effective interview. Presentation skills, the ability to communicate clearly, succinctly, with power, with confidence, builds career paths. No joke.
Amazing.
No doubt about it.
But before we jump into all of these gracious tips that you're about to share, I do want to understand your background a bit, because I know when I spoke to you about that first leading event, everybody was like, oh, this is Helen Gottstein, she's an actor. But how did you actually move into getting really into this whole public speaking and coaching us to be better speakers and presenters?
Great. So the first day that I was in my second degree, I had to stand up and present myself along with all my class colleagues, who we are, a little bit about myself and why we registered for this course, right? I was so anxious. I was so terrified that I made some notes to myself to support myself when I stood up to say who I was and what I did to my classmates. I looked down at the piece of paper that I had written on, and I had written what I'm doing at the moment. And I also wrote my name in Hebrew. We say in Hebrew, Hey Lamed Nun Sofit, like the 3 Hebrew letters of my name. I wrote down my name out of fear that I would even forget what I was called. So it doesn't matter that I have a background in theatre and I'm a literature teacher and also a theatre teacher. It doesn't matter. We can be confident in one context and absolutely terrified in another. Great one-on-one, awful in a group. Or the opposite. Some people are terrified of small talk. This assumption that as long as you're an extrovert, you're always going to be dominating and clear and out there. Not at all. There's something about presenting ourselves, our ideas, our vision, our stuff that can have a complete disconnect from how confident we are in other contexts. So why did I get into this field? I got into this field because I really understand that fear. So I don't know who you would want to learn confidence from. Like, somebody who's never had that fear, or somebody who really understands how you make the journey from holding yourself back, fearing the blush, or fearing the anxiety, or fearing like other people seeing how nervous I am, or somebody who really knows how to make that journey. I'm type number 2. I've been there, baby, and I have done that.
I like it. But you're so right. One of my challenges is always exercising and, staying in shape and losing weight. And I always think to myself, I hate to follow people who always seem to have a perfect body since they were born, right? They were the ones who actually always look good. Their butt was always high and everything looks great on them, right? And I'm like, I don't like to follow those types of exercise people. I want to know the people who were 500 pounds and had to lose weight, because they understand the real struggle of what it takes for you to lose weight, and how you have cravings for different foods and sweets, and how do you overcome these things. So the advice I get from those types of people make my journey a little bit more pleasant and a little bit more relatable. So I totally get what you say there.
Yeah, beautiful. I'll share that I'm also doing a lot of exercise during Corona. Well, I don't know if it's a lot of exercise or not. For me, it's quite a lot of exercise. And I only do videos with people that they look really, really sweaty. Like they're really working hard. Otherwise, for you it's effortless and I can hardly do half of what you're showing me. I'm not interested. I'm out. I'm out.
All right. So true. So guys, again, welcome to you who are now joining us. Helen and I did start talking already because we were so excited to get into this conversation. So don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We thank you for joining us today on our Facebook Live session. So today, our session is mostly focused about silencing your inner critic and really becoming a better presenter and a better speaker. So Helen Gottstein is with us. She is one of those, I like to call her transformational speaking coaches, basically, because she really gets you to come out of your shell and interact with your audience and interact even with your colleagues. Because, people see me and they think, okay, Risa, you're all extroverted. I am so not an extrovert. I am so introverted. So it takes a lot out of me to be out there and to, interact with people. So today's session is all about teaching you how to be a little bit heard, I guess, and to stand out in a crowd if you have to. So as we get into our discussion right now, I would love to talk a bit about self-consciousness, Helen, because, I think one of the big differences between women speaking and men speaking is women are always much more self-conscious about how it is we're going to say this. What will they think of us? How would I even look? We women, if you look, most women presenters are always well-dressed, right? Everybody is so excited of Kamala Harris becoming VP. And, my sister calls me and she said, I just can't wait to see every outfit she will wear because she dresses so well. So you can see that we women, before we stand on a stage, we think of everything from our appearance to how our words will come out, how will we sound, etc. When men don't usually go through that. They come in a jacket and a t-shirt or whatever and they deliver. So let's talk a bit about that self-consciousness and why is it that we women are so much more aware?
Great. So I'm going to go a little bit out on a limb here and say something quite political, which is, I think that we're all a little bit sexist, whether we know it or not. I think part of the confidence gap that we experience between men and women overall, right? Some women are really confident and some men are really not confident at all. But as a general statement, it is true that men are more confident and women are less. Why is that? It's because we live in a sexist society. Women are judged more harshly by men and women. Their mistakes are remembered for longer by both men and women. Our expectations of women are higher than they are of men, both by men and by women. So naturally, women don't only direct those expectations towards other women, they also direct it towards themselves. So that's what causes this tremendous sense of pressure, this expectation that we have to be brilliant or it's not worth saying, the expectation that we have to nail it every time, or, the pressure and judgment and expectation that we put on ourselves has its roots in a system that we have internalized that is not equal. So that's not a statement against You know, all of us who carry around bias, it's unconscious. We're not choosing to be sexist, like we're not choosing to be racist or homophobic. But that consciousness is part of ourselves. And unless we work on it, we remain trapped by it. So that's what I really loved about meeting you, Risa, in the context of a Lean In event where women and men are saying, we want to be allies, we want to make it a really even playing field so that everybody gets heard. So I take that one more step in my business and I say, I think that effective speaking in public has three components. It's physical, it's emotional, and of course it's like intellectual and verbal, right? But if we don't relate to the emotional part, then it's really hard to impact the physical and much less the verbal. And I'll even like go one step further and say, so how do you get worthy of being listened to? You have to relate to the emotional and physical stuff that's on the other end as well. It's not just about how brilliant your content is, it's about how well you relate to the people who are on the other side, how well you relate to what they want, what they feel, what they're interested in, right? Our content should be focused around what our audience cares about. And the number one way to do that effectively is to think about, how do I want my audience to feel? I arrange my data, I've got all my thinking together, I've got all the stuff that I want to say carefully planned out. Fabulous. Let me start really by asking, what do I want them to feel? And if my goal is for them to feel inspired or lifted up or engaged, what can I say that will help them feel recognized, respected, engaged, inspired? So I would say this, we need data, we need hard thinking, we need, the content side, but we also really need to relate to the emotional side, the emotional and physical, both of ourselves and of our audiences.
I love, love, love that piece of advice because it is something that I really can relate to. I've always, in every presentation that I make or any time I have to speak up, this is something that's center and foremost in my mind because of this one line I once heard. People will sometimes forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And this, I think, has really transcended in everything I do because of that line. Because you're so right, sometimes we focus so much on trying to sound brilliantly, and we don't understand that the way we carry across that message is the real way that people will be connected with us, So sometimes I listen to my speeches, even Helen, and I'm like, I didn't say anything brilliant, really. I think I talked the most rubbish on that day. But people engaged and loved about what I said because they came and they were very much like, oh, she's so much, on point, or her energy was high, etc., etc. So this is where she found it was really, really good and they think it. Okay. So let me just ask you one question again. Could you tell me a little bit about how did you, we're both a part of Schema Kadima, a social media group. So can you tell me how it is that you actually think social media also plays a part in also us getting our confidence or building our confidence?
With pleasure. I think that the Risa, looks like I've lost you for a moment. Risa, are you here? I'm going to just respond to your question. And
I am here with you. I just need to switch rooms. So go ahead and I'll be with you shortly.
Okay, Risa, don't leave me alone. So what is the value of posting in a group like Kadima, a group which has at its heart the intention of women encouraging other women by saying you can both be a mum and be as committed to being a parent as you are to building your career path? What is that unique combination? What does that unique combination allow us? It means that women get to brag. And not only is bragging not seen as, self-important or, self-centered, it actually has a social, psychological role for all the other women there. Anytime we share a small success or a significant success, what we're doing is helping everyone else there feel, well, if she can do it, then maybe I can too. It's like the power of hashtag me too in the in a positive sense, because none of us have to go through this alone. Your success is my success. Your pain, it's my pain. Your frustration, it's my frustration, because we are in this together. So groups like Ima Kadima specifically was the example that you brought. And for me, it's an excellent example of women not just leaning in, but lifting each other up together. Says, you want to brag? Go for it. It has a hashtag, brag any day is part of what Ima Kadima offers. People like me, I get to celebrate small successes, small fails, and shout other women out who've been helpful to me. That means more ripples, more encouragement, more power to more people, because, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats, we say. If I can do it, if I can do this, and I've shared where I come from in terms of my paralyzing fear of public speaking, if I can do this, trust me, with the right toolkit, anyone can do it.
Yeah, you're so right. As I said, you know, I am one of those people who just like a fly on the wall in Ima Kadima group. I don't usually post or, you know, comment, but I do read all of the comments and thoughts. And I think to myself, any woman who's feeling like crap today should just log into Ima Kadima, and they can just get a boost of energy that says, okay, girl, you got this and you can continue. So it's really a great space. Because
and also, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that, you know, social media is sometimes seen as such a negative tool that brings people down. So when I find those types of pockets within the internet, I feel like really uplifted and proud to see that it's also a woman's group and we are women uplifting other women, you know?
Totally. And I also think that there are groups like that on LinkedIn as well. There's certain groups that are so encouraging and so embracing. And it's really fun to be able to follow outspoken, strong female leadership that gives us role models, because there's that principle of like, if you can see it, then you can be it. And I think that the more we stop holding ourselves back and say, you know, I don't think it's that important, but it is true for me and that I can share. That's just us being our authentic selves, and it means somebody else is likely to be helped by that. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Helen. Now, you know, I want to get back a little bit about the content part, because I know you said, you know, we should think about the emotional part, but at the end of the day, we don't want to sound stupid. And I think that is one of the biggest things that hold us back from women, especially when we're in a meeting. Let's just take it to a smaller, most common issue. We are in a company meeting, we are listening to what's being presented, and we have an input or we have a question, but we dare not raise our hands because we don't want to sound stupid. What can we do to just overcome that stupid factor that we think we are going through? What are some tips you think we can exercise to make us and encourage us to raise our hand and speak up?
So I think that chances are, depending on the size of your team, if you look around the table, chances are you won't necessarily think that you're the dumbest person on the team. And I'll also share, like, this is like a great tip for me, which is dare to be dull. Dare to be dull. You don't have to be the most brilliant at the table. You don't have to be the genius, the one who shares an idea that blows everybody's minds. Dare to be dull means we just share what we are thinking along with everybody else. Our voice can be one voice at the table, right? The expectation that only if it's brilliant should it be worthy of sharing. You know, you're listening to a table of people sharing ideas. You don't necessarily think everybody's brilliant. You don't think everybody's idea is transformational and, you know, disrupts the whole like context and imagination, like all the parameters of the sphere that you're discussing. Dare to be dull, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone. Just take the pressure off. Allow your voice to be one of the voices there. And if we do it often enough, chances are sometimes it will be brilliant. Sometimes it will be the transformational remark, the disruptive, the game changer. Sometimes lower the pressure, lower the expectation. And also, I know this, confidence is a muscle that needs to be worked. Right? We were talking about sweat before, like I only want to do exercise videos with people who, you know, show that they're making an effort.
Mhm.
So confidence is a muscle that gets stronger the more you work it. That's how you expand your comfort zone. You do something that's a bit stressful one time, and it teaches you, oh, I can also do that thing, right? It stretches you a little bit. That's what stress is. That's your comfort zone expanding. So the first time you speak in a meeting, it may be a little hard. Also, time number 7, 12, and 15. But by the time you meet, contribution number 39, chances are your heart rate won't be as increased, you won't be as tense. Your breathing will be slower. You'll be more like good to go, like calmer and feeling more centered. Look for that by time number 39 that you're speaking, and not time number 1.
Amazing. Helen, this is like so many good truth bombs you're dropping today. I had to pull out my pen and paper because I had to start taking notes. Because listen,
Truth bomb.
no, really. Because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, these are like kind of like a checklist of things we women can have before we go into a meeting or go into a situation where we know we have to speak in it. So one of the things, just to recap for some people who may be joining us now, Helen gave us 2 amazing tips so far. She said, first of all, focus on the feeling you want to leave people with and not so much your content. And the second tip was dare to be dull. And she emphasized in this point that we really need to really practice, or rather be repetitive in all giving more questions or asking more questions, because only with practice will we get better, and then the brilliance will shine one day.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my third question about this. It's like practice. As a presenter, every time I have a big presentation to do, I always go and Google and I look at what tips can you do before a big presentation. And they often tell you 2 things. First of all, of course, your superwoman pose, stand up with the super Wonder Woman pose and get into that little action and make sure you're tall and strong. But the second thing they always tell you is practice. Practice your presentation before you deliver it. Meaning, stand in front of a mirror, see how you're delivering this presentation, and tweak it, because you also want to make sure you are within time, making sure that you articulate, etc. Helen, can I confess? I never do that because I hate practicing. I'm like, why am I standing in front of a mirror talking to myself about this? I just can't do it. So tell me, what value do we get really from this outside of what I find on Google? But give us any tips that we can actually make this a little bit more simpler or easier, that we can want to do it more.
Beautiful. So I will share that I don't think I've ever spoken to a mirror in my life, but it does make sense to practice out loud. Now, I'll tell you what I have done in the past when I'm preparing for important meetings. I practice out loud when I'm doing a menial mechanical task like washing the dishes or folding the laundry or sweeping the floor or something physical, rather than just standing and looking at myself. And here's the only thing that I actually practice. I practice, and it's my recommendation to you, practice your opening sentence. Most people experience the highest increase in their heart rate and nervousness and dry mouth, wet hands, all of the stuff that goes on for us during the first few moments, preceding and during the first few moments of speaking. Practicing your first sentence out loud gets you launched, gets you begun. The other sentence that it's really important to practice out loud, and I'll get to the value of why that's so important in just a moment, is your final sentence, your opening sentence and your final one, because we want to open strong and we want to close even stronger, especially in the context of a formal presentation. So get yourself launched, get yourself over the hump of that initial, fear of public speaking, the anxiety that naturally rises in all of us when we're doing something which is a bit stressful, moving out of our comfort zones. But knowing exactly where we're going to finish means that we can shorten our presentation, and we can manage our times and still hit our core final sentence message. It helps us manage our time, helps you shorten what you're saying, but still not miss your core idea that you want to deliver at the end. Now, what's the value of practicing out loud? Welcome to a moment of neuroscience with Helen Gottstein. When we think about presenting in public, right, that's about ideation. We're seeing it on one side of our mind. We're like, here I am, I look fabulous. I've got my new green and black fancy shirt on. I'm looking fine. And we see that in our mind. That's great. That can help us feel more positive. But language, lexicon items in strings, that's called grammar. That's how we produce messages that actors can, help us communicate. They're actually produced on the other side of your brain, second hemisphere, the detail side. So seeing it is not enough. Reading it is not enough. You have to say it. Saying it creates the neurological pathways that help us sound smarter when we actually deliver it in real time. Welcome to a moment of neuroscience with Helen Gottstein. Now, you don't need to practice the whole 45-minute presentation out loud unless you're giving a TEDx presentation, which is between 8 and 12 minutes anyway. You are just practicing your opening and your close. That's it. It's enough.
Okay, that I can do. I promise you I'm going to start. And it's actually something I do try to do more and more these days, especially as I deliver more presentations, because you are so right. And it kind of goes back to that first sentence that you said in the beginning. People won't remember everything you said anyway, but they will remember how you started and they'll remember how you ended, because generally that's how they get the feelings and how they engage with you. So if you do have those strong statements for your opening and your closing, it really makes a difference. Nobody remembers in between of what you said. So really, really good tips, Helen. Wow, this was so amazing. I think I needed you before every presentation, but now I have my checklist. So that's definitely going to help. So before we end off though, I wish to hear a little bit more about which other ways people can get to work with you or get to know you. I know you have an upcoming workshop. So tell us a bit about this workshop and what can people expect out of this workshop?
With pleasure. Risa, thanks so much. On the 24th of November, on Tuesday evenings, Israel time, 7:30 Israel time, I'm opening another round of a course that is called Core Presentation Skills. It's a course that helps people carry out small talk effectively, feel comfortable at the opening and closes of webinars, helps people make solid presentations every single time. It's a course that helps you avoid being really, really boring with your PowerPoint. It's a course that helps people grow their visibility at work, get the job, get the promotion, get put into leadership forums at work. And one woman who worked with me even launched a stand-up career as a result. It's a course that, of all the things I offer, the one-on-ones, the corporate training, this course is the one that's open to the public, that it's a stepping stone for people who are committed to not just feeling the ambition, but acting on it, and know that getting their visibility, their speaking power up to speed is going to drive their career forward. It works. November 24th, 7:30 p.m. Israel time. Link is on my page, Loud and Clear Training. Sign up. I will share that 4 people sign up today, so there's actually not that many spaces available. It's not full, but it seems that bookings are coming in. So if you want to hear more about that or get that information, I suggest you have a look sooner rather than later.
For sure. We will send that link to you guys who signed up for this webinar. Those of you who are watching live on Facebook, we will put the link in the comments so you won't miss the opportunity to sign up. And Helen, how can people find you, or where is the best place to connect with you if they wish to work with you or learn more from you?
Well, please, my website is called Loud and Clear Training. That's where I'm at. You can contact me anytime. I also have the option of a free consultation if you're not sure if Loud and Clear Training is right for you, or right for your corporate team, or right for your setting, your group, your NGO, whatever it is. Well, let's have a cup of coffee. Let's have a virtual chat, and let's see. Perhaps what I have will be relevant for you. And if it's not, I am always sending stuff on to other excellent communications consultants or other people in other fields, so that everybody can just do better. Because the one thing I know as a solopreneur is I don't have to do it alone. I haven't done it alone. So why should you?
Amazing. So Helen, thank you a lot for all of this. I do want to stress that, as we wrap up, the most important 3 points you left us. So if you missed any part of this webinar today or this chat with Helen, let's just wrap up with the 3 most important things for you to be heard and, go to those meetings, go to those presentations and deliver exceptionally. The first thing Helen mentioned to us is focus on the feeling. Focus on the feelings that you wish to leave your audience and not so much about your content. The second thing Helen left us with is dare to be dull. Eventually you will say something brilliant. So don't worry about something smart in the first time, but just instead challenge yourself to be dull and speak anyway. Beautiful. And the last thing she's asking us to do is please practice your opening and closing sentences. Forget the rest. You don't have to suffer like me in front of a mirror for 45 minutes. All you need to do is practice your opening and closing sentences, and that will take you on to another life journey of speaking better. So Helen, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed this chat, and I look forward to speaking with you in the near future again.
Risa, thank you so much for this opportunity of joining you. I just love that you don't just lean in, you lift other people up with you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for taking the time out. The video is on our Facebook page, but we will definitely send you a copy by email if you signed up, or just visit us, as well as Helen on Loud and Clear Training. All the information will be in the notes, so you can therefore connect with her as well as sign up for her upcoming workshop. Thank you, everyone, and wishing you an amazing day. Goodbye.
Bye for now.